Lindy, we've talked about the idea of, showing a maturity as a team when you're coming off a loss like the last one. What does that look like to you for your team to sort of, show who they are after a loss like that?
Well, really try to continue to play our game. Not really change anything. We know it was a tough loss. We know we got off to a little bit of a tough start. Turned a couple pucks over, but we did a good job of trying to battle back. We just didn't get the job done.
Miles talked the other day about how Toronto really took away a bit of your rush game. What do you have to do in order to stick with that and make sure that that doesn't happen against your opponents who are learning a little bit more about how you guys play?
Well, I think that when you look at most teams that create the high quality, it's reading the play, getting out of the zone early, pushing the other team back that gives you some space. And I thought we were a little bit late on some of those plays. But again, if you give another team a 2-goal lead, I wouldn't expect to get that many high-quality chances because they're going to usually defend pretty well.
Lindy, to get a winning streak to go that long, what does that say about the way you were able to consistently find your game night after night?
It's hard because there's a lot of different ways you can. A game can go the wrong direction. You can have a goaltender that can flat out beat on any given night. I looked at it that we had bad periods through that, but we were able to make that next period a good one. We were able to, play a strong defensive game, I think, which was our backbone. We got good special teams at the right time. And at the same time, we tied some games in the third period. We won some games in overtime. We had a lot of things go right. And you have to in this league with the parity and in any given night, players are too good. You can't take a night off.
You had obviously some very nice additions to this club this year to go with Hughes and Escher and some of your young talent. I mean, how have you been able to mix it so quickly 20 games in?
I think the defense, first of all, has played really well. If you look at the addition of Marino and Smith, it's a veteran core. There's not much for young guys on the back end there, and they've played really well. And then you look at up front, I think we just got some maturity out of Hughes, of Escher, or Bratt. You throw a Holla in there, a good veteran guy that can play in any situation. We got Miles Wood back, who basically didn't play all last year. Gives us size and speed. So I think when you look at our lineup, we've got speed through all four lines, and really the other team really doesn't get a break from us pushing the puck up ice.
Lindy, we talked analytics a little bit on Wednesday, and there's some metrics that say that Jonas Siegenthaler's added more defensively than any other defenseman in the NHL this year, and I'm just kind of curious how you've seen him grow and develop his game since he came over to Washington.
Well, again, I said I think I've got to point to defense how well they played, and he's been a stalwart back there for us. Big guy, long reach, penalty killing has been very strong. Played against top lines throughout that whole stretch, and is going to continue to do that. But I think the key to Jonas playing such a good game, I think, is he complements Dougie with Dougie's game. Dougie's getting up ice, getting in the offense. He's been there on some situations to make sure that he cleans up, when we've got a little bit of gamble in our game. But those two guys together have done a great job with gaps and not allowing a lot of time in their own end.
Similarly, speaking about development, as you've seen Tage Thompson go from a guy who was struggling over his first few years maybe to acclimate to this game to what he's done now over the last year and a half. What has made him become such a dynamic?
Well, you mentioned him. I think you look at the Sabres team and you look at a group that it's a lot like us, a young group that all of a sudden they're gonna just find the right groove. It could be weeks away, could be a month away, could be tomorrow. Maybe the two games they won right now is the stepping stone, but it's a young group with a lot of creativity. You have a team that scores 13 goals in 2 games. You're doing a lot of good things, and you mentioned him. I mean, he can flat out beat you with a one-timer off the side. He's got great hands and hanging on to pucks and changing direction when he's shooting the puck. But they've got a lot of speed and they got a lot of creativity, and they got some size. You mentioned him. You mentioned Tuck. I think their youth and our youth are kind of in the same place.
We're a long way from the story being written, of course, but does it feel a little bit like 05, 06 to you?
I think I compared, our lineup, the lines, 1 through 4 being similar, where we weren't the biggest team, but we had basically a third line that was Roy, Finnegan-Off, and Vanek. So, good speed, a guy like Thomas who could score, complemented that line really well. And then, you got a line with Briere, you got a line with Drury, strong up the middle. And I think we look at our team, and we got Nico, we got Jack, we got Holla, maybe a little bit different than what we had. But, all of a sudden, down the middle of the ice, you've got some guys that can control the game.
Lindy, the Devils have allowed, I think it's 12 goals in the third period, fewest, tied with Boston, fewest in the league. Maybe you addressed it with your answers about the defense, but what's the reasoning behind being so stingy in the third?
I don't know if I can point to one thing. I think we've been leading a lot of games, and when we've led games, we've played a smart game. Our puck management has been good. I think that discipline, not taking a lot of penalties that would allow an opponent to get back in. So probably just to play away from the puck has been strong.